I know a lot of people shit on Love Island, okay? A lot of people shit on reality shows in general. However, this one I stand on business, okay? I stand on business with because it's actually a great one. It's actually a great premise when you think about it. And in case you've been living under a rock and you don't know what goes on in the pods, rhyme, I'll tell you. Basically, the premise of the show is that strangers from all around the country, whatever country you're in, it's currently in the US, in Brazil, in Japan, I think, and it's coming to the UK very soon. Anyway, so strangers all come together. The men are separated from the women. And the point is that you're supposed to date them and fall in love through a pod. And when I say a pod, they're separated in like 2 different rooms and a wall is separating them. And you can't see the other person, but you can hear their voice. And you're supposed to talk to them about your life and what you want from it and who you want to live your life with, basically. You're supposed to bond with someone over the pod, which to me is crazy because I don't know. I'll get into it later. But as you can imagine, loads of problems there. But I want us to discuss what we can really, really learn from these couples, from the show, from the couples, and from the individuals that are coming on the show. Because 2 seconds in, we can already tell what their problem is. Let's get into it. I saw him first. Hi everyone, welcome back to I Saw Him First podcast. It's your beautiful host, Anjy. Today we're talking about Love is Blind Season 6. If you haven't watched it, it's going to be spoilers, so make sure you've seen it before, clicking on this video. Okay, right, let's get into it. Let's start with the girls, the women, and I'm going to just focus on the people that actually were prominent on the show. So let's start with Brittany. In case you guys don't remember, let me show you a photo. This is Brittany. She's the one that, to be fair, I don't remember much about her, but what I remember is that she's very much like a Christian country girl. She might be Texan because she has an accent, and she was with this other guy who I don't remember right now, but I'll get to him later. I'm going to talk about her individually. Not very memorable. I don't know much about her. I don't remember much about her. She didn't really make an impact on the show besides being someone that I guess is religious and wants to wait till married to, do the deed. So girl number 2, AD baby. AD made a splash. She made an impact on the show. She was the finalist. She actually got to the altar, spoiler alert. And AD, I have to say, I have to rate her. She actually carried this season. She carried season 6 of Love is Blind. She's beautiful. The body is bodying. However, she could work a little bit on her self-confidence. And I know it's a journey. It's not like, snap your finger and become confident. But I think for someone that is going on a show called Love is Blind, I don't think you should focus. I don't know. I feel like, okay, let me just say, she has confidence physically, but not on the inside, which I guess it kind of makes sense. I feel like she's compensating and maybe slightly overcompensating. You like kind of putting her body and her looks first things first. And for a show that's about the inside and who you are on the inside and trying to fall in love without seeing them, that's a big mistake. I don't think she's worked on herself internally enough. Like, she's not emotionally strong enough for this show, I have to say. In a way, you have to be a little bit like tough and just like very sure of yourself. She's made a lot of comments about how she just doesn't think she's lovable, which kind of broke my heart because I don't know, it's kind of strange to like say that out loud. I don't know, maybe I'm the problem for thinking that that's a strange thing to say out loud. Like, why would someone love you? Something adjacent to that. She said that to the guy that she, was engaged to. And I just thought, for someone that, looks this good, her body's banging, she carries herself confidently, but she's actually not very confident. And it was a shame to see. But personality-wise, I think she's fun. I think she's a delight. I think she's sweet. Her voice is kind of like soft. Sometimes she amps it up a bit. But generally, I like her soft tone. I like her femininity. I think she's given exactly what she's supposed to give. And she held the show. She really carried it on her back. Great cast for the show. Another girl that made an impact was Sarah Ann. This one, I actually think she got a bit too much hate. a little more than she deserves. She basically tried to take someone else's man. And okay, let me explain. She and someone else were basically the final two for this guy. And she eventually got dumped, for someone else, which, is fair. But then after they left the pods and these people were living together, so the person that she was dumped for and the person that dumped her, they were living together, enjoying their engagements. By the way, those ones are problematic on their own. But basically, she sent the guy the text after she's been dumped saying, if anything ever happens, just in case you're not happy, I'm here. I want you to know that I still have feelings for you, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of the girls came for her, which is going to be my lesson number 1, actually, from this show. Lesson number 1. Sometimes girl code, I think, can be taken a little bit too seriously. Wait, hear me out. In the real world, if a random girl, if your man's ex text him on Instagram saying, I heard you're engaged, I know you're engaged, but just in case you're not happy, I'm over here. Yes, then she's a bitch. Then in that case, I hear it. But when you're talking about a show where you were literally dating 30 people at once, and just a week ago, you were not engaged to this person, this is the engagement is a week old. I'm sorry, I have feelings just because she didn't get picked. Her feelings are just as real as the other girl who got picked. I don't like it. I was not into the way all the girls were ganging up on her saying she's a bitch, she's not a girl's girl. No, because let's face it, she had feelings that were hurt too. How would you feel if you were dumped last minute for someone else? I don't think her going to the guy's DM, someone she was dating literally a week ago, and is now suddenly engaged to someone else, I don't think it's the same thing. I don't think it has the same weight as if it was a real world engagement. And I know it's their real life. They kept saying, this is my real life you were messing with, blah, blah, blah. But this is not conventional. The show itself is unconventional. I don't think Sarah Ann deserves all the hate that she got. Unpopular opinion, but that is, I stand on that. I actually stand on that. Number 1, I don't think everything should be girls code. Okay, everyone on that show was written for their own selves. They weren't there to make friends. Fine, you can be friendly and try to get along with all the girls. If anything, she's really the one that is doing the show right, because she's like, my man, I still want my man, I still love him. And the text itself wasn't really inappropriate. It was literally her pouring her heart out saying, I know you're engaged, but just in case it doesn't work out, I'm still here. So someone that was her boyfriend a week ago, just because he's engaged a week after, suddenly I feeling she disappeared. Please, let's be real, okay? Let's be real. I think they came down on her too strong. They should allow it. Also, it's mainly the guy's fault here, because he could have easily said, oh, thank you, but, I'm happy. If he was really in love with the one he chose, he was having doubts too. If he was really in love with the girl he chose, he would have responded to this Sarah Ann saying, actually, I'm happy with my girl. And they would have never met up on, in the parking lot, like they said, and spoken to 3 a.m. in the morning about what? What do you have to talk about if the guy wasn't on it, okay? So Sarah Ann knows what she felt. She knows what they had in the pod was strong, and she knows deep down that he could have made a mistake, and she went after her man. And sure, it's sad for the other girl. It's like, okay, you're losing your man who you're engaged to, blah, blah, blah. But even that girl, I'll get onto in a second, because she herself, I don't really rate. Let's be real. She has so many problems she needs to sort out, like ASAP. Like anger management issues that she needs to work out, like as soon as possible. And that brings me on to her, the other girl, the one that got picked, Laura. Laura has issues, a lot of them. Even her family were kind of like, saying things like a personality isn't like the best. If your family is saying shit like that, if your own family is basically saying, oof, the way you guys talk to each other is a bit harsh, the way you guys talk to each other, I'm not too sure. My daughter, I don't really know, she's going to be able to settle down and be calm and, be tolerant. And even her own family did not have hope in this marriage. Okay? So for her to have the audacity to be yelling at the other girl that, yeah, I get it. She went after your man, but she wouldn't have gone after your man if she knew that she couldn't get him. Okay? Because girls are not like men. Men will go after women even if they don't think they have any chance, right? But women, I think, we need a sign. I think as women, we usually want to see something. We will see a crack. If we don't see a crack, I don't think we're going to go at first, diving in. No, we have to see a crack through the wall before we actually go through it. That's what I think personally. I think Sarah Ann knew deep down that Laura and the man, it wasn't really working out. They weren't really a good match. Did she kind of overstep the boundary a little bit by, staying out to live with an engaged man? Yes, I get it. But also, I think Laura and Sarah Ann could have just sat down and had a heart-to-heart. Okay? Let her say what's on her mind. I'm still in love with your fiance because, we were together a week ago. And I'm sorry I texted him this message. I'm sorry I hung out with him till 3 a.m. But I can't lie to you. I still have feelings for him. I'm going to try to back off. But I'm sorry. I have to admit I still like him. And I feel like he sent me a signal too. She could have said that to the girl. I don't know. That's the real girl code. Am I bugging? Am I being stupid? But I feel like that is the real girl code. Okay. Laura should have gone to Sarah and saying, let's talk about this and be understanding and think of it from Sarah Ann's perspective. I know you can't be very rational because emotions are heightened at this point. This is someone you're engaged to, you don't know where it is, you're staying up till 4 a.m. because it's out with another girl. I know. But if she really wanted to be a girl's girl, she really was a girl's girl like she claimed to be, why not just talk it out? I know it's not her fault, but I'm just saying the foundation was shaky to start with. If the foundation wasn't shaky, Sarah Ann would have not stood a chance. Okay, so let's move on now to another girl. When you see me, you're going to choke. You're gonna need an EpiPen. Ooh, Jessica. Jessica was 7. Look, she was 7 body too. She ate and left no crumbs. I loved her on the show. I wasn't completely sure about her intentions. I don't know. I feel like it wasn't until after the pods did I realize maybe she actually really liked the guy. But yeah, let's talk about her in particular. I think she's a great personality. I think she's beautiful. I think she is a little bit insecure about the fact that she has a kid, but that's very understandable. And I think that the fact that she's hot, I know this might sound bad, but the fact that she's hot actually allows her to get away with having a kid. I don't think she knows that. She knows she's hot. I know she knows she's hot. I also think that she needs to realize that she's still very young, and even though she has a kid, it's not that much of a hindrance. It's really not. It's one thing to have a kid and not be particularly, it's going to sound rude, not be particularly like good looking. Again, don't come for me. This is the society we live in. But I think she will definitely find someone that would accept her and that kid. And she should stop holding herself back because she has a kid. Not at all. Especially because the kid is grown up. That is your problem. Not solved, but half solved. Because the man doesn't have to quote unquote raise your baby. You can literally start like an all new family, like raising a child and having a new family, of course including your daughter. You can do that with someone new. It's not that much of an hindrance. This girl is like, I think her daughter's 10, 11. So you're not looking for a dad for her. First things first, you're looking for a companion for yourself. And it's kind of techie because you're like, should I start the conversation saying, by the way, I have a kid? Or should I let them get to know me first, which is what she wanted to do? Like, I want them to know me as Jessica before me bringing up my kid. But at the same time, if I was on a date with someone and they didn't tell me on the first date that they had a kid, I think I'll be a bit annoyed about that. I will feel a bit like betrayed. So yes, maybe not lead with that, but bring it up definitely on the first date. And she was quite open about the fact that she has a daughter, but I think she kind of overly kind of leaned into that later on, like kind of like doubling down on how her daughter is like everything in our world. No, this is not about your daughter. This is about you. This is about you finding love on the show. Okay, you don't have to like overly compensate because again, like I said, you're young, you're beautiful, you'll be fine. Mention it once. I actually have a 10, 11-year-old daughter. Not looking for a stepdad for for her. She's fine. We're good. Her dad's still in her life. But, this is about me, not my daughter. But I wanted to put it out there in case it's a deal breaker for you. Finish. There's no need to keep saying, oh, my daughter is my world. Oh, every time she's crying. Oh, every time she thinks about her daughter, she cries. There's no need for all of that. Okay. But Jessica, I love her. And she's already going on to do another TV show. So good for her. She's very much reality TV material. And then we have Madam Chelsea. Chelsea. Oh my God, boy. This is a character. Chelsea, no. This is not the right show for you. And I guess it's kind of like, it's a little bit counterintuitive because you would think for someone that isn't very secure about how she looks, Love is Blind will be the show for her. But it's not like you're married at first sight. You know very well that once you get out of the pod, this person has a choice to pick you or not to pick you, especially when they've seen someone else that they could have gotten with. So I don't think this is the right show for her. I think the show she should have gone on was Married at First Sight, so that she can lock the man down instantly, because I think that's all she wants. I don't actually know if she genuinely likes the guy or if she just wants someone. And it's tough because it's a very thin line. Like, I'm not going to lie. Sometimes I do be thinking, do I want love like that? Like, because I know love isn't all flowers and roses. There's, sacrifices and compromise. So sometimes I'm like, do I even want someone in my space right now? Or do I just like the idea of having a boyfriend? And I think it's kind of similar for this girl, Chelsea. I don't know if she actually is ready for like the relationship and the marriage. I think she just wants to be with someone. She just wants to have someone. She's a little bit lonely. She's thinking, oh, I'm getting older. She isn't very confident in how she looks. And I'm not gonna like say only hot people like should go on the show, but you need to be kind of confident. You need to have some level of confidence, okay? Because everyone has issues, but you can't let confidence be one of them, because that insecurity really ruined everything for her. Even if Jimmy, I think that's his name, even if the guy that she got engaged to really, really liked her, it's so obvious and very much like self-explanatory why he got turned off. Because when you have to reassure someone over and over and over again that you love them, then no one wants to have to be in that relationship. So that is my lesson number 2 from this Love is Blind show. Ask yourself, am I the kind of woman that someone will be happy to call their own? Am I confident in myself that I love myself and I am the catch? Because she doesn't think she is a catch at all. She doesn't move like someone who knows who she is. She doesn't. And it's so funny because outside of her relationship, she seems like a nice woman. The way she interacts with the ladies is like, she's very much like bubbly, and I guess she has self-confidence but not esteem. It's a weird one. Or maybe she fakes the confidence because everything just comes crumbling down whenever it's to do with the man. Outside of the man, I think she seems like a very self-assured woman, but as soon as a man gets involved, she's just like she comes crumbling down like a ton of bricks. And it has a lot to do with how she oversold herself in the pods. Again, for a show that's about not your looks, it's supposed to be about your heart and your soul, you're mentioning that you look like Megan Fox when you know deep down you don't look like Megan Fox. Even if she said, oh, I've heard that before, but honestly, I don't look like her at all. I don't think I do. But when you're insinuating that you do, you've put an image in this guy's head, because I know she hasn't said that. I feel like the guy would have chosen Jessica. Of course, he hesitated because she has a kid, but he also said that's not a deal breaker for him. So there's no way that Megan Fox comment did not play into their relationship. There's no way. And I can't stress it enough. That just ruined a trajectory. If she hasn't said that, the man may have not had high expectations. It's one thing to go in saying, whatever she looks like, I'll try and accept it. But it's another thing to have Megan Fox in your head and then come out and she doesn't look like Megan Fox. And now she has to live up to that expectation, and she can't live up to it. It's just every day she's trying so hard to be the kind of person that he wants, to be the woman that she sold herself to be. And now she feels like a fraud. And she's moving like a fraud. She has no confidence in herself or in a relationship. She doesn't believe that this man loves her because she doesn't fully love herself. She doesn't look at herself and think, this is someone that someone would love. That's how I feel that she feels. So before you go on the show, or just like in general for people, what can we learn? If you're feeling like undeserving, if you're feeling insecure, no one's going to be free from insecurity. But I think that what we need to work on is being someone that someone else, it's a no-brainer that someone else would want in their life. You have to be a catch. Like, fine, everyone deserves love just as they are. I've said that on the show. You shouldn't have to work hard for someone's love. But if you want to be with just anybody, then sure. Do no work on yourself. Just pick anybody, right? Just choose whoever chooses you and settle for that. But if you want someone attractive, if you want someone successful, if you want someone that, kind of is high value, then you have to work on being high value yourself. It's not just men that should be high value men. No, I think women should work on themselves too. The way you carry yourself really, really matters. You have to think you're the shit before someone else thinks you're the shit, okay? Don't oversell and then under-deliver. You need to undersell and over-deliver. Now, let's go to the final girl called Amy. Amy's sweet. Amy seems like the kind of girl that a lot of guys would just want to be with. She's easygoing. She's, got a nice smile. She's beautiful. There's not much to talk about here. Not much drama with her, but she's a good addition to the show because I feel like she's one of those people that just hasn't had good luck in the past with men, but there's really not much wrong with her. I didn't really see any red flags, honestly. And I think maybe perhaps it has to do with how her journey has been quite easy going and smooth sailing. I don't know if we would see a different side to her if she had a bit more of a rocky road. But I think she, luckily got with a man that is head over heels with her, and that just made her journey very smooth sailing. So it just goes to say, I guess this is the third lesson. Sometimes you really just do have to put yourself out there. Sometimes the problem isn't you. Sometimes you're fine. Sometimes it's just a timing issue. Sometimes you just haven't met the right person. There's nothing wrong with you. You're lovable just the way you are. You don't need to change anything about yourself. You just need to meet the right person. And I think Amy's a good example of that. She was ready. She came ready for the marriage. She came whole. She wasn't looking to be fixed or to be, completed. She wasn't looking to prove anything or to over, sell herself. She just came as she was, and she was happy. She embraced the process, and she had a good time. Very happy for her. I'm glad she found love. Now on to the men. Matthew, oh my god, this guy, I actually forgot about him for a second. As soon as he got on the show, I felt like something was odd, and I don't want to be rude because he might actually be on the Asperger's spectrum. I got that sense from him. He's very standoffish. He's very rude to the boys. He's very blunt, and quite calculated. And I don't know, the fact that he was saying the same thing to two different girls just kind of turned me off of him. But I really do feel like him being on camera has a lot to do with it. I think it would do better off camera because AD went on a second date with him outside of the show and she said it went really well. So I really do think the fact that he was put on display on camera made him feel a bit uncomfortable, and perhaps that's why he kind of acted like that. But I also think that's his character, but I don't think it's that bad. I know it sounds crazy for me to say that, but I don't think it's all that bad. I think Matthew is slightly misunderstood. I actually do feel like it. I feel like he's not all that bad, and maybe we need to give him a second chance, but that's just my opinion. I kind of like his stern personality, but that's just me. I just think he could do a little bit more with his honesty and also getting along with the boys, because if you don't have any friends, I'm sorry, I don't want to be with someone who is like an outcast in their friendship group. So yeah, let's move on from him. There's not much else to say about him. I think maybe the camera got the best of him and he might actually be on some kind of spectrum. Kenneth. I'm just scared. I'll be dead. Ken wasn't giving much. Yeah, no, I don't think he's a good fit for the show. He's very much a, boring kind of personality guy. It's just very much all he knows is school teacher, is a school principal, my kids. They're not your kids. I'm sorry. I know you love your job, but come on now. You're on a show where you're supposed to find love. Your kids we'll be fine. They can wait, okay? So the fact that he kept emphasizing about his kids, fam, you're actually really lucky that you found someone, you got engaged to someone, because again, your personality wasn't giving much. Even in the pods, I found this chat quite boring. So you got lucky that you found someone. I guess they bonded, off the religiousness. But yeah, no, this guy was very much giving ick to me. I was like, no, just I don't even want to keep talking about him. Like, very irritating. Just the way he kind of flipped. Also, when AD spoke about the race thing. I'm sorry, but when you were talking in the pod, I'm pretty sure you know from someone's voice. Sometimes you can tell what race they are. So if you knew you weren't comfortable dating a white girl, why did you get engaged to her and keep talking to her? That was quite unfair, because I feel like he kind of changed personality, did a bit of a 180 after that conversation with AD. So that made me kind of rate him a little bit less, because it's like, you have no backbone. You have no backbone to stand on. I want a man that would defend his decision and defend me when it comes to it. When push comes to shove, he wasn't confident that he was going to be able to hold it down, and he started acting weird and like, no, let's not do that, okay? Let's not. No, let me not. Before I say anything rude, I'm just going to move on very swiftly. Jimmy. Jimmy, actually, I don't know what it is about Jimmy that girls like. I mean, the fact that there were two girls who wanted him, I'm quite shocked about that, because face-wise, I don't know. I'm being mean. I think his personality is actually quite okay. I can see him being someone that's like easy to talk to, easy to get along with, but also he's a liar, because he wasn't attracted to his girl. He wasn't attracted to Chelsea, and he found that he had to convince himself. I guess that's my lesson number 4. If you have to convince yourself into liking someone, it's just too obvious. Like, they weren't going to make it. Just be honest with yourself. He didn't want to look like the devil. He tried so hard to not be the villain, and still ended up doing exactly what he should have done ages ago. When you got out of the pod and you saw that she didn't look like Megan Fox, and you know that's the reason why you chose her, and after seeing the other girl and she made you choke, after seeing Jessica, she made you choke, then you could have just admitted that you were kind of in the back of your head hoping for Megan Fox, that you weren't truly choosing based on your heart. And maybe you did like both of them, maybe you did love both of them, but you weren't attracted to Chelsea. You should have been honest from day one. You should have just been honest from day one and said, I can't do it, I'm sorry. I know it's hard. Maybe it's just something I would do that other people might find very uncomfortable. I'll just sit her down and say, I know this would make me look like an asshole, but I'd rather say it now, than wait down the line and, lead you on and have to lie to your face that I love you. Oh my God, the amount of time he was like, I love you. But I love you. I said it today though. I love you. It was so sad to see, and like, I never want to be with someone that has to force themselves into me and like into being with me, into liking me. No. And Jimmy, I'm sorry, I know you got the short end of the stick there, being told you're gonna get with Megan Fox, but you should have just been honest with yourself and gone for Jessica. And maybe none of them. If you didn't want Jessica because of the kid, then just go for neither of them. Just be honest, okay? I didn't rate his dishonesty, but personality-wise, I think it was good on the show. Yeah, all around, good guy, I would say. Mr. Clay, Man of the Year Clay. Actually, Clay is a bit of me. Red flags? Ooh. Okay, no. Besides the red flags, Clay is tall, dark, and handsome. And he's got his money. He's got his head on, screwed on straight. I love me some Clay. Besides the daddy issues and the old cheating, scandal, I like Clay. I think he's a good guy. That he's one of those people that his childhood has just had such a bad impact on him. And maybe I'll talk about attachment style later on and how our childhood impacts our attachment style, maybe another video. But I do think he's very much an anxiously avoidant person, right? He's like, I'm going to cheat on you. So I just will not get married to you because I know I'm going to cheat on you. Just, you have autonomy. over your decisions. I know your past influences, your actions in the future or present, wherever, but you have autonomy. You're forgetting that fact that you can decide to resist temptation or just not put yourself in any situation that will tempt you in the first place. And then the reunion, the audacity to say in the reunion that he made a mistake and he still loves AD. I was just like, oh, you fumbled the bag, because I don't blame AD if she doesn't go back to him, because he embarrassed her. Why go all the way to the altar? Why do that? Why go all the way to the altar if you know you're going to say no? And he kept saying, he didn't know what he wanted. I kind of think he knew, but he was too scared. He was too scared to do it. And then he came to the last minute, again with the avoidant. It was anxiously avoidant up until the last minute. He just couldn't confront the fact that he wasn't ready. But I like Clay still. I'm going to forgive him. It's the thing to get away with in your heart. It's one of those things you get away with when, you're a high value man. I have to give that to him. Very much a manly man, very macho, very ambitious. It takes care of his woman as well. Very caring guy. And I actually think it did a lot to come out of a shell. He actually really tried to be more emotional. Like, he kind of gave himself to this experiment, and I rate him for that. It was quite open about his struggles. He was emotional as much as he's manly. He's also emotional. And I think let me actually briefly talk about this. When guys are like, oh, girls say they want emotional men, but when you're emotional, they don't like you. They think you're too feminine. No, it's that we want both. We want the dichotomy. We want both of them. Okay, we don't want a man that's just overly emotional or a man that's overly stoic. No. You can have both. You're human. You can be more than one thing. You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes Clay such a I don't know, my kind of man, a bit of me, like I said. Because he's manly, but he's also soft. He also has his moments where he's vulnerable, but he can be strong when he wants to, when he needs to be. And that's what we want. Okay? The unique pairings, like Matthew Hussey, the relationship coach, says, you need unique parents to stand out in the dating market. You can't just be one thing. You have to be like a mix, a good balance of both. Right, let's move on now to another man, Trevor. Trevor. Another guy that tried to pretend like he was a good guy. I mean, Jimmy, I think, is a good guy. I don't want to say he was pretending. It just was too much of a pussy to admit that he wasn't attracted to the girl. But this guy came on looking, oh my God, boy, did he try to deceive us. And I had a hunch. It probably might be because I don't trust men in general, might just be my issue, but I just had a hunch. I was like, this is too good to be true. Too good to be true that you're so invested and so head over heels for this person. He made a comment about how, girls assume because he looks good, he has all these muscles, so he's not soft and emotional, and they think he's a fuckboy because it looks good. And it's like, yeah, there's a reason why women think that, because most people who look that good are fuckboys. And I wouldn't say he's a 10 out of 10, but he's attractive and he will do well in the dating market, let's face it. Tall and strong and whatever. So the fact that he came on trying to be like, oh, I'm just a little teddy bear, I just want love, I wasn't really buying it. And I'm glad that, the cat came out of the bag in the reunion. It actually came out that he was, with somebody just before, was texting this girl just before he got on the plane to go on the show. And then after he left the show, he kept texting this girl saying, oh, I'm going to marry you. I only went on the show, to explore and, see if I could date someone I don't normally date. It's just full of shit. It was just all bullshit. I don't even want to get into it, but I was like, I knew it. I had a hunch and I was right. And I was just like, this is complete bullshit. But I'm glad he admitted that he's toxic. And it's just a scary man. I have to say, he's scary. It's the kind of man that drives women crazy, that makes women do crazy shit. This kind of man we should avoid. It was like the quintessential toxic man that everyone should just stay away from. Jeramey actually disappointed me. I thought in the pod that he was vibrant and fun and, a good guy. And then he completely, is it just me, or he completely did a 180? The whole thing with Sarah Ann, the whole thing with Flora, and just got so rude and very I couldn't even look at him. I was like, is this the same person? I didn't know what it was. Something must have happened. I feel like something went down that we don't really know, because this guy just kind of flipped a switch. He really changed. He was a different person in the pods. And I get why Laura was so mad, because she must have thought the same thing. In the pods, he kind of seemed like a bit of a nerd. That's also sweet, and he wants a girl. He's very serious. He'll take care of her. He's like, very emotionally intelligent. And then he came off the pod and started acting like a douchebag. He started acting like it was the shit. He started acting like it was Clay or something. Like, no. I think only Clay gets to act like that. Even Clay didn't act like that. Clay didn't even act like an asshole like he did. Okay? And no, I'm not saying being attractive, gives you the right to be a douchebag, but at least you can kind of get away with it. But no, Jeramey, calm down. I don't think you look good enough to be acting the way that you're acting. Just because you have another woman who's interested in you doesn't mean you shouldn't show the person you got engaged to some respect. I don't think it was respectful at all. I think it was rude. But again, Laura isn't the easiest person to talk to, but still, there's a way that you could have de-escalated the situation. If it was like my man Johnny, which I'm going to get onto in just a second, if it was Johnny, I had a feeling Johnny would have handled this situation a lot better. If Johnny was the one who got engaged to someone and if some other girl wanted him, there's no way Johnny would be messing with Sarah Ann when he has Amy that he's head over heels with. Exactly. So again, Sarah Ann only stood a chance with Jeramey because Jeramey himself wasn't sold on Laura. Now, moving on to my final man, Mr. Johnny. I'm sure you can tell I like Johnny. I think he's a man that's just ready. He's ready. He knows what he wants. He found a woman that, is a little bit out of his league. And I guess that would be my number 5 point. Find a man that thinks he's punching. He thinks, even if he's not right, I think they're equally attractive. Actually, maybe Amy's slightly more attractive, but I really do think they're a good match, looks wise. But he still thinks it's punching. He looks at her and he's like, wow, he's in awe of her. He's like, how did I get this woman? He thinks he wouldn't have got her in the real world, which I don't think is true. Even though she's admitted that he is not her usual type, but she still finds him attractive. Ooh, that could be my point number 6. Both people have to find each other attractive for this show to work, for this experiment to work, because let's face it, love is not blind. Love is blurry. Love has too many parts to it, too many components, too many moving parts, okay? And things have to fall into place for it to work. Love is not blind. I don't know why people keep pushing this narrative, okay? Just because you have an emotional connection with someone doesn't mean you should be with them. That is so wrong. What makes an emotional connection more important than a physical one? To me, they're both equally as important. Audrey from the Receipt podcast said it as well, that she cannot be with someone she's not attracted to. And that is fact. That's a woman that's honest. I feel like a lot of people want to be politically correct. They don't want to seem like the asshole online. So they'll say things like, what's inside is the most important. No. What's outside is important too. If I'm going to be going to bed next to you, laying next to you, waking up next to you, going outside with you, I need to like what I see. If you like what you see when you look at me, why can't I like what I see when I look at you? Is it fair that you're attracted to me but I'm not attracted to you? And that is the root cause of most of these problems on Love is Blind. It's because they've completely tried to dismiss, the physical attributes and think it's not important. It's important. Stop selling bullshit. Stop selling bullshit on the show to desperate people that it's not important. It is important. I know I'm not saying everyone who goes on the show is desperate. No. Not at all. I think it could actually be a really good thing. You can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, get a husband, and get the bag at the same time. So I don't think everyone who goes on the show is, desperate. But I think some of them are. And then you're selling them dreams that all they have to be is a good person to find love. When in reality, that's bullshit. It's a lie. This is the real world we live in, where looks matter, where status matters. Stop lying to these people. That's why I'm going to end it today. Hope you enjoyed my recap. My favorite couple, of course, is Amy and Johnny, because they made it to the end. I'm always going to advocate for the winners for love. And I really like AD and Clay, which you already have guessed from my rant. I really like Eddie and Clay. I think she should give him another chance, but just like proceed with caution. She should date him as well as date someone else, which would be probably hard for her to do because this is someone she was engaged to. But that would be my advice to her. But give him another chance. Let's see if he's really done all the therapy he needs and he's ready. Who else do I like? Who else do I like as a man? No one else. That's it. Clay and Johnny are my faves. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure you check out another video on my YouTube channel. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, then yeah, watch something else. I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.